Good evening, my name is Marcin Czasnek and welcome to Flash News. The first results of the COP26 climate summit in Glasgow are in. World leaders, despite many differences, agreed on a deal to halt deforestation by 2030. The deliberations in Scotland will last until November 12th.
More than 110 countries comprising 85% of the world's forests. These are signatories to the latest climate agreement. It has been decided that over £14 billion will be given to developing countries to help stop and reverse deforestation.
Let's end this great global chainsaw massacre.
The Glasgow summit is also an opportunity for backstage talks. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki and US President Joe Biden discussed climate in person. During the speeches of the world leaders, the head of the Polish government stressed that the energy transition must be solidarity-based, fair and taking into account the specifics of each country.
Not all of us start from the same point, but we should all remember one principle. Transformation cannot take place at the expense of people.
Some of the Western leaders and businessmen attending COP26 are criticized by the media. It was noted that the leaders lecturing the world on climate issues jammed the Scottish airport with their private jets, which emit significant amounts of carbon dioxide.
It was supposed to be fake news and no threat, but more satellite images show that this problem is serious. Russia is concentrating troops a few dozen kilometers from the border with Ukraine. The situation is becoming increasingly tense, hence the reaction of Kiev's allies. The flagship of the US Navy's Sixth Fleet has just entered the Black Sea.
The US Sixth Fleet Command ship's visit to the Black Sea as NATO's response to growing pressure in the region. As you know, the US ship has entered the Black Sea. We can watch it through binoculars or through the size of our defense systems. But as analysts have been warning for several days, it is Russia that is provoking. The biggest troop deployment at the border with Ukraine in weeks is underway. Satellite images show that forces from Russia's 41st Combined Armed Forces Army, normally stationed in the Siberian city of Novosibirsk, have not returned to Siberia after exercises, but instead have joined up with other Russian forces near the Ukrainian border. The first Guards tank army is being pulled from outside Moscow. Experts say briefly, this looks like preparations for an invasion. Russian activities in general are indeed very worrying recently because, first of all, it's not only Crimea, not only Donbas, but it is threatening more areas of Ukraine, which is an independent state and capable of defending itself, as it proved in recent days for the first time using a combat drone on the front line in Donbas to destroy the artillery of Russian rebels. Moscow has responded with hysterical protest. You have to give credit to Ukraine, which is defending itself against the separatist attack. However, the attitude reaction of other countries is worrying. First of all, Germany, which strongly criticized this attack. As political scientists say, Germany's reaction clearly shows that Berlin's back is against the wall. Criticism of the Kremlin is asking for problems. Germany today depends on Russian gas supplies. The functioning of industry and the comfort of living of Germans depends on the ability to ensure gas supplies at low prices. Therefore, Moscow's actions today are another testing of how far they can go. Vladimir Putin knows that thanks to his energy policy, he has gained the most powerful weapon, the indifference of his business partners to his actions in Eastern Europe.
On the eve of the decision on interest rates, Global Finance magazine unfavorably evaluated the actions of the chairman of the National Bank of Poland. The National Bank of Poland responds that the banking sector in Poland is doing well as the state finances. Experts add that this could be a form of pressure on the Polish bank, and inflation cannot be viewed solely through the prism of interest rates.
Gas prices have been historically high recently. This is one of the factors driving inflation. In Poland, we saw prices rise 6.8% in October. We've had a rise in gas prices, and now we are seeing rising cost of heating and fuel, so there are other factors that are adding to the already high inflation rate. The government, although it has limited capabilities here, is planning actions that will affect inflation. We already have a draft compensation for the energy poor ready, although the energy poor will be a very capacious category. We would like it to apply to more than 1 million households. However, the Deputy Minister of Finance pointed out that inflation of even 8% is possible. Recently, the Monetary Policy Council raised rates to 0.5%. The President of the National Bank of Poland explained, however, that the current level of rates has little impact on the level of inflation, and the purpose of the increase is to reduce the risk of its perpetuation in the future. High inflation is the result of supply shocks on which monetary policy did not, does not, and will not have an influence. Inflation is indeed dangerously high, experts say, but they also stress that it does not depend on interest rates. The economy, however, is rebounding quite dynamically after the pandemic. We have accumulated postponed demand from the previous year. People just simply saved some money because they didn't spend it because they were afraid of the future. More of this money came into the market. However, the chairman of the National Bank of Poland was negatively assessed by the Global Finance magazine. In response, the National Bank of Poland cites the opinion of the World Bank Director for the European Union.
The unprecedented support that the authorities delivered to protect incomes, to protect jobs is quite important here, and the role both of the National Bank of Poland as well as the government should be recognized.
Tomorrow, the Monetary Policy Council is expected to announce its next decision on interest rates.
Starting today, anyone in Poland who is 18 years of age or older and vaccinated can register for a booster dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. This is to provide greater immunity against coronavirus.
An increasing number of people is eligible for the third dose of the vaccine. Starting today, all adults. I can walk safely, not worry about family and close friends. Why do I get vaccinated? Because I am a responsible person. There is an epidemic, the whole world is vaccinating. People who want to be vaccinated with the third dose must meet several conditions. To be healthy, not having recent contact with a person infected with COVID, 6 months must have passed since the last dose of vaccination. E-referral for such persons is issued automatically. The third dose raises antibody levels, so it is like a booster, like any other vaccination. Taking each dose of the vaccine is extremely important because the fourth wave of infections is growing faster than expected. There were situations in the Lublin region, if only in terms of occupied beds. Today's status is 68 beds ready for COVID, full occupancy. Also, the hospital in Ryki almost full of COVID patients. We are practically a COVID hospital. The only department that is running on a limited basis is the palliative care department. More field hospitals are being reopened, today at the Poznań International Fair. We opened today 2 28-bed modules and 1 intensive care ventilator module as well. On Friday, the field hospital in Warsaw-Okęcie will be launched, and it is possible that the hospital and the National Stadium will also be launched.
She is the last living woman who was subjected to pseudo-medical experiments in the Ravensbrück camp. A doctor, a scout, a friend of John Paul II, Vanda Putavska, turns 100 years old today.
Vanda Putavska, for friends Dusia. At the age of 20, she survived the hell of Ravensbrück, the worst German concentration camp for women, where they were subjected to pseudo-medical experiments and murdered. There is this memory that should never die, not because people killed, but because of who a person is. She dedicated her entire life to others. She became a psychiatrist and worked to protect life from conception to natural death. And that's what brought her closer to Cardinal Karol Wojtyła, later Pope John Paul II. Concern for the family, for the unborn, for forming human consciousness, especially women, especially young couples. The joint thoughts of John Paul II were later translated into concrete papal documents. First there was cooperation, then friendship. With the whole family of Putavski, they visited Vatican during vacations and holidays. Today a mass was celebrated at the papal grave for the intention of the birthday person. The Prime Minister and the President also expressed their good wishes. Vanda Putavska was awarded the Order of White Eagle in 2016.
Rome Fiumicino Airport is named after Leonardo da Vinci. The Italian artist was already dreaming of flying machines during the Renaissance. The airport, named after him, has also made an innovative decision. It intends to introduce drones that will serve as flying cabs.
Rome airport managers have reached an agreement with a German passenger drone manufacturer. The service is expected to be available within 3 years. Driving by car from Fiumicino Airport to the center of the Eternal City takes an average of 45 minutes. A drone will cover the same route in 15 minutes. The price of the course was estimated today at 150 euros. The drones are powered by electric motors, so they do not emit exhaust fumes. Work is already underway on the infrastructure needed to operate them. They are uncovering the secrets of the ancient kingdom of Dedan mentioned in the Old Testament, among other places. Near the city of Al-Ula in Saudi Arabia, local and French archaeologists are searching at 5 sites for traces of a civilization that at one time was one of the most powerful in the world. The kingdom covered an area from Medina in present-day Saudi Arabia to Aqaba in Jordan. It lasted for 900 years until about the 100th year after the birth of Crisis. Greenland is changing from an ice island to a land covered with rocks and vegetation at a rapid pace. This animation shows how rapidly changes are taking place near the North Pole. The ice here is melting 4 times faster than it was just 20 years ago. The temperature increase in the Arctic is 3 times greater than in other regions of the world. The water flowing from the glaciers speeds up their melting process, and the land without ice does not reflect the sun's rays but heats up. For the safety of people and reindeers, an ancient custom of the Sami people in northern Sweden has been changed. In the Pajala region, it has been decided that the animals will be transported from their grazing places to their dens. Until now, the herds wandered on their own. The change was made because of accidents on the roads. On the route from Satajärvi to Pajala airport alone, there have been 60 collisions with reindeers per year.
And that's all for today. Thank you for watching and have a good night.